Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Your Practice podcast. I can remember when I first got introduced to the concept or the mindset that rather than challenges happening to me, they happen for me. I can still kind of reproduce the relief that I felt because I went from being a victim to back being in control of my emotions and my actions and all those kind of things. It's one of the pivotal mindsets that's really helped me in particular over this last couple of years. My guest on the show today, Erin Purtle, a chiropractor who's an Aussie chiropractor, but she's currently and has been practicing over in the UK and Spain for the last 15, 20 years, is a living example of that exact mindset that rather than challenges happening to her, they happen for her. When her practice was confronted with potentially months of shutdown last year because of COVID, she pivoted. She realized that there were new things that she needed to learn. And one of the things that she needed to learn is she really needed to up her marketing game. So she joined me inside Community Influencer. And from that moment on, over the last 6 months, I've just seen her go from strength to strength to strength. Her practice immediately began to grow to the extent that now she has a waiting list of people. It's 2 months, I think, before people can come and see her. Now that has its own problems that go along with that as well. She's a fabulous student. I love every opportunity I get to learn and chat with Erin as well. In today's episode, we talk a lot about the things that Erin has done over the last 6 months, from influence marketing to the great little videos that she makes, all the way through to what she's actually doing now. She's starting a brand new company as well. I think there's so much to learn from, how Erin is as an actual student and the mindset that she has. So without any further ado, let's jump in and let me introduce you to Dr. Erin Purtle.
Welcome to the Marketing Your Practice podcast, where we guide natural health and wellness experts through the pitfalls of marketing. Each episode, you'll learn simple, effective, easily actionable, and heart-centered marketing strategies. And here's your host, Angus Pyke.
Erin Purtle, welcome to the Marketing Your Practice podcast. How are you?
Very good. Good morning.
It's lovely to see you here. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to tell you, you are very quickly becoming one of my favorite people to be speaking with, and I'm so excited to be chatting with you today. Now, we've got a bunch of listeners from around the world that don't yet know you. Can you give them a little bit of a background? Actually, that's presumptuous of me. I bet lots of them know you. So particularly our European friends there also. Can you give our listeners a little bit of your background story of what brought you to where you are now and what you do?
Okay, sure. Well, I'm from a really beautiful country in New South Wales town, border town called Yarrawonga Mulwala. And I then from there went to RMIT and graduated in 2000 as a chiropractor. Began working in Melbourne and then made my way over to the UK and worked over in the UK for a few years. And then now from there, I moved to Barcelona and have been working as a chiropractor in Barcelona for the last 15 years.
How did the Barcelona thing, why Barcelona?
Well, it had nothing to do with the city, it was just coincidence and chance. Right. Completely. I was living in London and had met a wonderful Spanish guy. Yes. And my visa was running up and he couldn't come to Australia. And so I was like, well, what about if I go to Spain? And I actually looked up Australian chiropractors in Spain and came across an Australian chiropractor called Gary Carlos. Yes. I rang him and said, hey, are you looking for an associate? And he said, sure, come over. And that's how I started in Barcelona.
And so you had no Spanish at that stage. I guess, did you have a little bit from you? Right. And so what's the learning curve from starting and having to practice in a new country with no language? How did that happen?
Massive learning curve. Massive. And it's one of those things now that I'm on the other side of it. I think I was absolutely crazy to do that, probably. Well, and thank you to Gary for taking that chance with me as well, But yeah, it's hard. It's really, really hard. You have to, there's not just the language, it's the culture.
Yes.
The dynamics that you have to learn, the way people relate to each other. And that just comes with time.
How did you go about? Did you get lessons? Did you formally try and learn? What was the process?
Yes. I took lessons every day. But learning a language it just takes time and repetition. And Yeah, and then one big learning step for me as far as the language was concerned, the boyfriend that I went over there with, we actually separated, and I met another guy a few years down the track, and his English was terrible. And so starting a relationship with somebody who's not really good at English was a massive boost for my language skills as well.
How long did it take you before you felt competent and confident with the language?
I would say approximately 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I
What happens is you learn and you reach a point where you can survive.
Yes.
And you can get pretty comfortable there, like, because you can survive, you can, maybe not speak very well, but you can get by. And people are pretty accommodating. Well, definitely Spanish people with communicating with people that can't speak their language, but to actually get to a point where you're fluent and really good, that takes time.
One of the marking points, my eldest daughter, my beautiful Mackenzie, she went on exchange in year 10. So she was kind of 15 or 16 to Belgium. And so she had a little bit of French, but not much. You know how it is over here in Australia. We kind of learn a little bit. She could say hello and goodbye. And our point we were always excited about with her is, when does she have her first dream in French, where the whole dream kind of subconsciously is there. And I remember her kind of reaching out to me. That was about 5 or 6 months into it, where, she was even starting to dream and think as well. Since your time working in Spain, you've not been just in Barcelona, because for some time you kind of worked between practices all over, and even out to what sounds incredibly exotic, but I'm sure it got overwhelming, traveling back and forth to Mallorca.
Menorca, right next to Mallorca.
Right.
There's 4 little islands just off the coast of Barcelona, Valencia.
Yes.
Ibiza is the most famous one, of course,
Yes.
and then Mallorca, where Stacey was living.
That's what. Yes.
Just next to that, there's another island called Menorca. And during this time that I've been in Barcelona, I've actually owned and sold 3 practices. One of those practices was in Menorca. Yeah.
Yeah. And so how often would you head out to there to work?
So I had an associate working with me, and we would go out there one weekend on, one weekend off. So every second weekend I would fly out there.
And what's the chiropractic culture like in Spain? How would you describe it?
Definitely, it has changed a lot. So when I started here, we were something like 80 chiropractors in the whole of Spain. You've got to think Spain is a country of approximately 50 million people, and we were 80 chiropractors. And the majority of us were foreigners living there that had somehow, with some story, made our way out here. During that time, the numbers of chiropractors began to grow. And what happened, which was an absolutely dynamic time here, was that there was a massive push within the association to get a school out here. And within the association, we had quite a conflict of philosophical ideas, but that fight of ideas actually created 2 schools here in Spain. So we have a chiropractic college in Madrid, and we have a chiropractic college in Barcelona.
Right.
And so what's happened over the last few years is that we actually have more chiropractic students than what we do chiropractors. And so every year, for example, I know the numbers from the Barcelona Chiropractic College more, that, we're getting approximately 50 chiropractors graduating every year. So this is a lot for a community that now we're about 400 chiropractors. But imagine that every year it grows by 50 more, So the chiropractic community, or the chiropractic culture, is definitely growing. I can feel it only in the area where I have my practice in Barcelona. I was the only chiropractor within the radius of that whole suburb. And now we're about 5 or 6 chiropractors in that suburb, So definitely the culture is changing. There's a lot more awareness. It's a really growing profession here.
If you went to the average person on the street and you got into the conversation of what do you do, and that you said that you're a chiropractor, what's the chance of them knowing what that means and what you do?
Definitely 10 years ago, zero chance. They would have no idea what that is.
Yes.
Now, definitely it has, the consciousness of what it is has grown. But maybe 30% would know what it is.
Yeah. So the vast majority of people, you have an opportunity to tell them from scratch what you do and how you help. Is that
Mhm.
a help or a hindrance, do you think?
Depends on your energy level, I think, and your passion for your profession. But definitely, I think, and particularly the culture that we have here, more in Barcelona, I can only really speak for Barcelona. It's a very vitalistic idea of chiropractic. And so being able to describe that we're actually not just about low back pain and headaches is pretty exciting as well. And people are like, oh, okay, that sounds cool, yeah.
Yeah, I can see how that can and would be a double-edged sword. On one side of things, you're constantly having to tell somebody what you do, but you get a chance to kind of invent it from brand new, as opposed to here in Australia, the moment most times that you say to somebody, I'm a chiropractor, they immediately go, oh, my neck, my back. It's like, here we go again. So I wonder sometimes I think if you said somebody that I'm a gynecologist, what is there a kind of equivalent answer that they kind of get people grabbing their crutch?
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll leave that for another time there too.
Mhm.
Now, you and I, how long have we been working together for? 4 months?
I
5
started coaching with you in September.
September. Okay. Now, when you reached out to me in September, can you remember what your goals were, what you were looking for, what your challenges were, what you wanted to have happen?
Sure. Definitely my 2020 has been a turnaround year.
Yep.
I cannot say wholeheartedly thank you, COVID, for the changes that you have brought to me just yet, but I'm sure that at some point I will.
Yes.
So as everybody knows, March, there was a massive change here in Europe and all places were locked down. So during that period, I thought to myself, okay, what can I do if I can't go into to adjust? At that time, I had 2 practices running, one in Barcelona, one in Menorca. I had 3 associates working for me. And for me, it was a massive emotional blow or a hard thing that I had to fire these people, because from that point, I could not see the possibility of me actually being able to fly out to Menorca or even being open. So being able to give these people a wage and things like that, because if we're stopped working, what will I do? How can we go forward?
Yeah.
And for me, that was a massive emotional shift. I was on with the idea that I would start several practices, that I would, on this sort of an idea of that. Well, that was my trajectory.
Yep.
And COVID for me was a massive, massive learning call that maybe this is not going to be my trajectory.
Yeah.
So in saying that, I sold the Menorca practice, got rid of all my staff, and I went back to adjusting in my practice that I've had since the very beginning on my own, and just got back with my clients and just started working again. The people started to come back, which was great. One of my associates came back and helped out for a while. But I was at a point in August where I was really looking for another way forward. I've been practicing for 20 years now. I don't want to be at the table adjusting here 20 years on, basically. I love my profession. I love being a chiropractor, but physically I don't want to be adjusting for too much longer in that way, but I don't want to lose all the experience that I have had working as a chiropractor these years. So my mindset went into, what can I do online? What can I do as a chiropractor online? And during the lockdown period, I started a webpage or a group called the Chiro Chats.
Yes.
And what I did with this group was I started, first of all, organizing webinars and just inviting chiropractors to come along and talk for 15 minutes about something that they know and that they can share with the group. And I was getting 200 to 250 people registering for these events. And it sort of was my first time that I saw the possibility of you can do things online. From there, I learned about met new chiropractors and then new things, interviewed different chiropractors. And I came across the work that you were doing at that time. And for me, it was the perfect next step as far as Yes, I need to improve my online presence. And where is the best place to start that? Then with my own clients, you know. So yeah, that was how I got to you. And for me, it's been an amazing journey where I have learned a lot about marketing, the importance of marketing, and the heartfeltness of the marketing. Like that, the personal part of it is actually the key to all this, not the whiz bang, you know, cameras and lights and things like that. That actually the part that comes from your heart and your knowledge is the part that really is the great part to the marketing.
It was a big part of my origin story of being really frustrated in the early days at the avenues of marketing that I had to reach out into my community all involved me selling a little bit of my fucking soul. I'm like, I don't want it that bad. Like, I'd rather things be a little quieter and a little slower in the practice. I'm just not prepared to have to pimp myself out. There has to be another way. And that's what really began the journey with me. This idea of, look, if we're just cool and helpful and we have technology available to us now, of which you have become so competent and confident with, you know, mastering these little things here as well. So, yeah, okay. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So we started working together, and there are a number of things that one of the things that I really love about you and really I really admire about you is your willingness to just to get to work, to give it a go. Lots of the people that come to me they take so much convincing for them to try, which I'm like, hang on, you're actually paying me each and every month as well to help support you in this. And I have to convince you as well. It's not like I'm telling you to do anything weird and wacky. What is it about you why are you such a great student?
Not always a great student. I think, like I said, Angus, it's all about timing and all about, and you know, from the conversations that we've had, I'm trying to learn these new skills because I really see a different future for me as a chiropractor, you know. And so it's about learning new skills, not just to make a great Facebook video.
Yes.
It's about learning new skills that I know will take me on to imagine, like I want to start a podcast. I want to start something online, you know, a course or something. All this information that you were giving me would take me on to bigger and better steps than this as well, you know. Yeah. So it's just a moment of, wanting to learn so much because these skills are a whole new set of skills that I feel will be very important for me in the future.
Yeah, it is. And I want to talk about the mattress stuff before we kind of later on there too. But it is, you know, we often hear that catchphrase of, you know, the how becomes less relevant when you have a big enough why. Like, why am I doing it anyway? And this is why I think also, I noticed that the people that I work with, where their why is, you know what, I've got to serve my community. I'm so passionate about getting this information out there. When the why becomes beyond just where they are. Now, that doesn't mean that it cannot be about more income and growth in your practice and beautiful houses and great experiences, because we need to have, that needs to be part of it as well. But the bigger the why and the more exciting the why, the easier it is for us to kind of take action. So, I love your videos. I look forward to seeing them all the time. And I don't understand most of what you say because they're all in Spanish as well. What, tell the audience a little bit about the videos that you make, how long they are, the structure for your videos, and some of the results.
We put out a video every week. They're never more than 1 minute long. And really, they're not about sales or anything like that. They're about tips for our clients, you know, or just an explanation about something that they might not know about chiropractic. This week's video basically was about why you have to get adjusted all the time, like why not from one adjustment is not enough. And really, it's amazing what you can say in 1 minute. Like, Or we do, I mean, and definitely in your coaching, you go through this, you give, plenty of ideas for the videos. And it's amazing that once you get started on some different ideas, it's just like every week, bang, this idea, this idea, this idea, we did one about a breathing technique, why breathing is really important. It doesn't necessarily it's got nothing to do with back pain or anything, or even chiropractic sometimes. It's just like, this is, just knowledge that you have, we have so much knowledge about so many things, So the videos are only 1 minute long. I record them on my phone.
Yes.
It takes us now, I'm like a super expert at it just because we do it every week,
Yes.
So for example, the video of this week took no more than 5 minutes to do.
Yes. From go to low? From finished?
From go, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's me at my clinic. I always film it the same at my clinic.
Yes.
I'm always moving in the things too. I hold my camera here and
yes.
walk around my practice.
Yes.
I take different takes. So I would say, hi, I'm Erin from Chiropractic. Today I'm going to talk to you about why do I have to come back all the time to the chiropractor? And then I stop. And then I go into another room of my practice. I was like, well, you come and get adjusted because your nervous system needs to learn over and over again, and then I told a story about how I was I'm taking lessons to play paddle. Yes. And my trainer was telling me, Erin, you have to change your hand when you do this particular shot. And he would tell me that story over and over again. And then when he hit the ball to me, I would hit it the old way, my way. And it took me time and time and time again to hit it the way that he was telling me to do it. And I understood everything that he was saying to me. Yes. But when it came down to the crunch, I went back to my old patterns, and I was saying that, with our posture and our body, that's the same, and that's it. 1 minute, done.
Yeah. I want to, because one of the barriers that so many people, when I'm chatting with, health practitioners out there, for them starting this is, I don't have the time. I got to make, which I get, like if it took 2 or 3 hours a week, and it's not going to take 5 minutes to begin with. Like when you started, so let's go back to September. How long did it take in the early days?
Honestly, one massive key was in September, I made the decision as well to get a CA again. This was after not having one. And so that was at the exact same time that the CA came on. Yes. And that was one of her jobs. She had to learn how to make a video. Yes. And to understand how to edit a video, like the same way I was learning, she was on that learning process with me. And that has been a massive help as well, because say, for example, like this week, I did record the video and then I sent her the videos to the phone of the practice, and she edited it for me, because she can do that now, she knows how to do that. And for example, all our videos, we have subtitles on the bottom of them. Yes. And that's just through an app as well. And she does the subtitles for me because she is Spanish speaker, and so she corrects that they're all correct. So getting your staff on board was a massive way to improve time for recording this. So saying you don't have time, you have 1 minute to record yourself, that without a doubt. Yeah. And I would get your staff to edit it and do the subtitles for you. Using the programs that are available today, like Canva or Velo. I mean, your staff can definitely learn how to use this stuff.
So let's share your tech stack with what you use. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what sort of phone do you have?
I have an iPhone.
Okay. And do you know what version it is?
11.
Okay. So we've got an iPhone 11 that you film it on. Do you use a microphone or any lights?
No.
No. Okay. So I want to purposely go over this for the peeps that are listening, because we complicate it with how the technology that's needed and the time. So an iPhone 11. So it's not like it's the brand new iPhone, but it's not an old one either. They're two. So my general rule is if 3 years old or newer, you're really rocking, and probably even more so than that too. No microphones, no lights there as well. It's shot on there too. The app that you use to edit your videos is called
Velo, VLLO.
Yep. And I've spoken about this on previous episodes as well. The app, for those of you that are watching on the video version, the app that you use to do your subtitles.
Mixed captions.
Yeah, great. So that's, no, I'll have links to both of those in the show notes for peeps as well. But I talk about them previously in there as well. One of the other apps that you like to use is Canva as well. What do you use Canva for?
I'm so in love with Canva.
Yeah, me too.
My love for Canva began with just making posters and things around the practice, because how you pay a graphic designer to make you a poster about an upcoming event or something like that. Well, you can do that on Canva, and it was so easy, and I just love that. And then that came on to doing my post for Facebook and Instagram. Then I realized you could do video on it as well, and it just sort of went from there. But yeah, we use Canva all the time for everything.
Great. One of the other things that you have instigated since us working together is some influencer marketing as well.
Yes.
Can you share that with the audience as well? Because that's another thing and then when we get to the end, we'll talk about some of the results and the challenges that now go along with the waiting list practice that we were chuckling about last week.
So one thing that once we started thinking about doing this sort of stuff online and seeing who is watching our videos, we went through our Instagram account and just tried to have a look to see who follows us, And we decided to do an internal promotion where we would get some of our clients, because we found that people that were following us were not necessarily our clients. There wasn't actually many of our clients that are following us on our Instagram page. So we did an internal promotion, but from that we saw who is coming into our practice and who of these people, what sort of profiles they have online. And one of my clients, I realized, is a really big influencer. I saw one of her videos come up on our feed, and it had like over 10,000 views. And this was her just simply talking about her opinion about something. And so I contacted her and said, hey, would you be interested in making videos about your experience about coming into Honor? And she was well and truly up for that. And it has been a massive success. So she records herself coming in, and she records herself like on her way on her motorbike, coming to the chiropractor, walking in, saying hi, laying down on the table, getting adjusted, talking to me for a moment, like all those sorts of things. It's a very simple video. It's just about her coming into getting adjusted. And we have had a lot of new clients from that, a lot of new clients. Yeah.
And so this, just to be clear, this is a commercial arrangement that you have with her.
This is a commercial arrangement, yeah.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. And so can you just clarify what the arrangement is?
So the arrangement I have with her is she was currently a client already. And so that, I think, made it a lot easier, the negotiation of that. So we came down that she gets her care for free every time she comes in, she makes a post on her Instagram page.
Yeah. And how does she feel about that?
Ecstatic. She thought that was the best thing ever.
It's just it's a win-win. Now, obviously, finding some of these marketing avenues that pop up like this, they're not ones that you might be able to find tomorrow, but maybe you have got patients that fit this. If it's Beyonce, then Beyonce's probably not going to want to post to swap for an adjustment. But when you have these medium level influencers there that can literally swap and get their care for free, they are, my experience is many of them are so happy for this type of commercial arrangement and just asking. And I always suggest that people start with their patients first. Going out to a complete stranger to this can be a little bit more tricky, complex, not out of possibility. But I would encourage our listeners to have a look through their existing patient base to try and find who might be the best person for this as well. So it's another thing that's...
We did a great little thing about that as well, looking through who had some quite good numbers of followers. And in Barcelona recently, the bars had been closed and they recently opened up the bars. Yes. And we did a video one week about where we asked people what is their favorite bar.
Yes.
So that you can go now and have a drink with your friends at the bar. But we were very specific about who we asked. And they were people who did have quite a good selection of followers. And in the video, we tagged that person and, of course, the bar. And that was something where we got a lot more likes and things like that from that video, and an increase in number of followers as well.
Yeah. One, again, I'm just going to keep on piling on here, and because I just love the creativity that you come up with. You were telling me also about a video you did this morning where you asked everybody after their adjustment to describe their adjustment experience in one word. Was that
In
was,
one word.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of put a link, all those kind of things together. Yes.
Yes. So it was just, imagine you got up from the table and I said, "Hey, Angus, tell me in one word, what does it feel like? What does it feeling like after you get adjusted?" And I just recorded you saying that one word.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the video, I said, "Hey, I'm going to do a fun video today about what it feels like to get adjusted." So, and I say that make a video of that. And then I just recorded those words, and the people's faces.
Mm. Now, along with this as well, more recently, you've not only been sharing your videos out across the social media platforms, but you realized there was a whole element of you not actually sending them out to your existing patients and emailing them to your current clients as well. Share a little bit about that experience as well.
So recently with the coaching, you did a little bit of a, a series of videos about email marketing.
Yes.
And I listened as a good student. I listened to you. And as I was listening to you, I was like, oh my God, yes. We have a huge email list. I have like massive numbers of emails. I don't do anything with them at all. I don't ever send them anything.
Mm.
And again, that it's very easy to make a video. It's also really easy to make an email, we have been sending out emails now to our client list, and it was really good. And we just recently sent out a Christmas email where I made a video of us saying Merry Christmas and what a crazy year we've had, and it got a great response.
Yeah. So you have, in terms of competencies in around video and writing and email and all those kind of things there as well. What's happening in your practice now? What has anything changed at all in terms of growth and volume and patience?
It has. I mean, this is the thing. It's a little bit hard to compare because definitely we're talking about apples and oranges now because before COVID, I had several associates working with me and that sort of stuff. Now, post-COVID, it's just me and a CA. But definitely, I mean, what I'm doing with you is I love doing this anyway. It's got nothing to do with my practice growth as far as my practice is. I'm happy where it's at. But definitely one massive thing that's happened is that I can't see the people who we're full. We're full to the brim, and I've had to go on to do a waiting list first visit practice. And I know I'd heard about this many, many times, but for me, it's a really hard thing to say no to people, and it's a bit of a struggle, that definitely,
We were chuckling about that last week. My amazing, beautiful wife, Lauren, will come home and once a week she will be in a bit of a tears because she stayed back later, or she's stressed because she can't fit in. She does lots of work with amazing babies, and she can't see her mum and her baby for 6 weeks. And that caused a lot of stress. She's got a big heart. She loves what she does and stuff like that too. And sometimes I have to go, babe, it's because you're doing an amazing job. Like, you have a waiting list because you're great at what you do. And it's a problem, but it's a higher quality problem than, those peeps out there that are like, oh man, where's my next patient coming from? That's a problem too. But, and not for one moment, because you had a lovely patient base there too. You're clearly an incredible chiropractor with a sense of kind of self-confidence in throughout all of this too. And so it really was a fire that just needed a little bit of fuel added onto it. It's gone to a bonfire really quickly also.
Well, yeah, I definitely got a real, it was tough those months at the beginning of COVID. I felt really, really vulnerable, really, really vulnerable. And definitely the rug had been pulled out from under me, because the concept of being a chiropractor and having a practice or several practices that I thought was absolutely possible, and there's no way you could ever lose that. Well, obviously, the world can change and shit can happen and that can change,
Yep.
So definitely there was a spark there, and you gave me definitely the oxygen to keep going with that.
Yes. Now, one of the things we talked about at the very beginning, which I just want to kind of touch on to finish up here as well. I remember having a conversation with you about the freedom that comes when you understand marketing, when you understand how you can bring people into a business, whether, because on top of this too, you have shared some of this with your hubby, who is a handyman as well. And little bits of it there too. And again, he just does a video and doesn't need to boost all those kind of things there too. But when you learn the skills to market, whether it be that you want to be a handyman, a chiropractor, or start a mattress company, the skills are the same thing. It's like you have the magic code. For most people, we think that the magic code is just being really great at what you do. That's certainly part of it. But the old concept of build it when they come, I said again and again, is a great movie tagline, not a great business strategy as well. Can you share a little bit about this next phase of yours that's starting to grow with the mattress company, and how all of that came about as well?
Sure. Well, it came about again of the idea that maybe that idea of adjusting for the rest of my life is probably, I want to try and create some sort of change there, and COVID has definitely shown me the power of doing things online. So I saw that, like, within our chiropractic profession, what's that next step for chiropractors if it's not adjusting in a clinic? And a lot of it is to do with coaching. A lot of it's to do with teaching, like technique, seminars and things like that. I don't see myself as a coach. I'm definitely not a technique person, And so what could be a next step for me? And one thing that I thought about was a product, and definitely what you just said then about marketing. If you could find the right product and market it right, that could also be a next step. And within that, I was thinking, what are chiropractic products, or products that a chiropractor could develop or sell, And it was from here that, through chance meet, I met up with a guy who has worked in the mattress industry for the last 30 years. And after a great conversation with him about mattresses, I realized that as a chiropractor, I could design a line of mattresses. And that within our profession as chiropractors, we really have no idea about recommending mattresses. And sleep is a massive part of somebody's health spectrum, and it's something that we are not addressing at all. And so I have developed a line of mattresses. I've had it through a company. They make the mattress for you. You send the specific specifications that you want, and they've made me the mattress. I've had my first prototype, and we're getting the first one sent out to me and a few friends this week, where we will trial them and hopefully go online to sell them within the new year.
And the confidence with which you've gone to this, and even the preparation when you were meeting with the business partner in the early day, kind of understanding some of the language, how you could communicate, all this kind of stuff there too. It's really exciting. I think it will be fun to come back perhaps the middle of next year and share where that's developing. Before we started this episode, we're brainstorming what the website would look like, and taglines, and the ingredients of a patient converting website is the same ingredients of a mattress converting website. There are those elements inside there as well. Erin, I want to just acknowledge and thank you for playing full out. It's a unique skill set that has clearly served you from going from, a relatively small country town on the border here, to travel around the world, to feel confident and competent going into a country that you didn't speak the language is one thing, is scary enough, but to be a chiropractor in that, it's so inspiring for me as well. Thank you for that. Thank you for the trust in letting me work with you as well. And thank you for sharing so openly with our listeners today. Are there any kind of final thoughts or things that you would like to share with our audience, if they might be kind of thinking about kind of stepping out and being more, experiencing more, living more?
Do it. Of course, Look, I think definitely from the other members of the community influence group, I can see that a lot of people do hold back because of fear of, I can't do the video, I can't do this, I can't, there's a whole thing, and it's like, just do it, looks great anyway, just get it out there. Just, I think, I don't know if you said that, but just like, the content, putting content out there, even if it's not that well done, is better than not putting anything out there at all,
Yeah.
And definitely I've found that, and definitely it's just taking those first few steps, and then the ball starts to roll a lot easier, and yeah, I really would like to call out to the profession as well to even take that vision a bit bigger and think a bit bigger than just adjusting, like even in our coaching call last night, we talked about a chiropractor that's got a huge influence online, how that affects our profession, not just your practice. Yeah. But we've got a lot of knowledge. We have a lot of information. And I feel like sometimes as chiropractors, we don't believe in ourselves enough, but we can put that information out there, without stepping on any legal lines or anything like that, and be really proud of our profession and proud of our knowledge, and put that on our social web pages, social sites, and get that out there. I think it could be great for our profession, not necessarily us as individually.
Yeah. Isn't that a great thought that for so long, within the chiropractic profession and within kind of natural health care, we've kind of said, look, we don't have the budgets of big pharma and, traditional healthcare, those kind of things. And we've used that as a little bit of an excuse. But now with the advent of social media, with the fact that, the media walls have broken down and traditional media, news, television, that kind of stuff, there is, we can get out and reach millions of people with our phone as well. Erin, definitely. You're the best. Thanks so much for sharing with us today. Can you let the peeps know, because this is going to ruin your Instagram a little bit, but I want everybody to go and follow your Instagram so they can see your great videos and just get a taste of them as well. Where do they? Maybe
learn Spanish. You can learn Spanish.
Yes. Where will they find you?
So my practice name is Ona, O-N-A, Chiropractica, and Chiropractica is spelled with a Q-U. And it's in Barcelona. And my name is Erin Purtle. You can also follow me on my personal one, but I don't put as many videos and things like that on there. Yeah. But definitely I would love anybody's help as well of ideas about the mattress industry. If you know ideas about sleep and about mattresses, it would be great to get some feedback from my fellow colleagues about that.
Love it. I'll make sure I have all your deets in the show notes there as well. Until next time, Erin, keep saving lives.
Thank you so much, Angus. Thank you for everything.
If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out the Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work one-on-one with you to apply, implement, systematize, and help guide you and your practice to the next level. Now you can join me on over at adiomedia.com/join. That's adiomedia.com/join. I'd love to see you in there.